After a massive break to the upside for Bitcoin, we have finally stalled right under $100,000, and a lot of people are wondering if in fact we will get across that $100,000 mark and what this recent downturn is going to mean for Bitcoin. What's up guys, it's CryptoDave here at Top Tier Signals, and in this video I want to touch on the looming correction for Bitcoin and what we can expect from the altcoin space as well. Are things looking healthy? Have we reached the top? Is there further to go? There's a lot to talk about in this video. So guys, if you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, tick the little bell, you won't miss a single post. Without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the rambling. So starting out very simple here on the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, we can see that we made a major push up to about $100,000. We got all the way up to $99,850, of course, depending on the exchange that you're looking at. This is a long anticipated event, and we almost got it here, but not quite. Now, just by judging this candlestick structure, we are not showing any sort of signs of strength under $100,000. We're getting a lot of bearish engulfing candles here, so we're chopping sideways. We're getting these big moves down. We have a massive bearish engulfing candle here that's basically erased the last day of this sort of upside relief that we've had. So the structure here on these lower time frames is certainly bearish. And now there's no reason to panic. I don't think that this is anything more than just a typical correction after a major move to the upside. And I just want to point back in time real quick. If we look at the 2016, 2017 bull market, we can see that on Bitcoin's path all the way up to 20K, we had 6 separate corrections of 30% or greater for Bitcoin. And the reason I bring this up is not to suggest that we're going to have 6 different 30% corrections in this bull market, but it's simply to demonstrate that these corrections are necessary. They will come. They are going to feel very intense in the moment. It's going to be emotional for a lot of people, but they are ultimately normal. They're healthy. They are a part of that overall path forward. So even if we were to get some sort of substantial correction, 10%, 20%, even up to that 30% mark, we still have to remain hopeful and resilient here in the space, knowing that this is just a part of the process. And if we take this in comparison with some of our previous cycles, we can see here that we are right in the middle of our last 2 cycles at this very point in time. So we're doing perfectly fine in terms of a percentage return standpoint since the actual low back in November of 2022. And we are even outpacing that 2016, 2017 bull market that we just referenced. We're kind of right in line with the last cycle back in 2020, 2021. So as long as that metric is looking good, I think that there is nothing to worry about. There's still plenty of time and there's still plenty of room for growth before we hit that eventual top. And guys, if you saw our last video, then you know exactly how we are going to be tracking the top. On the channel, we're going to be looking for those pre-top indicators that things are getting really heated. We're going to be looking for those actual top signals. And of course, we're going to want to confirm the top with a post-top confirmation. Guys, if you want to know how we're tracking the top and how we plan to sell the top, you guys can watch that video. And of course, selling the top is great in theory. It's usually not probable. However, we're going to do our best to track the top of the cycle on the channel. But regardless, guys, we are perfectly on track, and that is the main takeaway here. Even if we have a big correction, we're doing just fine. Now, guys, if we come back out to the daily time frame, it's really not a surprise that we are seeing this sort of resistance here. We made a 35% move just from the break of the all-time high. That doesn't even consider going back down as low as $50,000 in early August. So we've had a substantial move to the upside. We got into some oversold territory on our RSI, as well as our MACD histogram. We saw that bearish divergence come through with the higher high in price, as well as the lower lows, both on the histogram and on the RSI indicator. So very strong bearish divergence on the high time frames after a substantial move to the upside. It's no surprise that we need to cool off and just take a second to reestablish a base for price and see if we can't sort of rinse and repeat here in the coming weeks. And now, of course, moving back into the lower time frames, I'm going to be looking out for this $93.5 thousand level, as well as this $85,000 level for Bitcoin on the lower time frames. These seem to be some very important levels of confluence in terms of our recent price action. So if Bitcoin is going to be bleeding out and trending downward for the next week or so, it would be interesting to see where we land and where that demand is ultimately found. If we do happen to get some low time frame bullish divergence, I might be looking to take a long at one of these levels, but of course we're going to need to see things play out before we get into any trades or positions. Certainly it's tough to go through a correction here in the crypto market, but something that's very positive that I actually want to point out is here on Bitcoin dominance. And we're currently looking at the 4-hour chart. We'll take it back up to the weekly in a second. But here in the past week, we have seen an over 5% decrease in Bitcoin dominance. That is the market share of Bitcoin compared to the rest of the cryptocurrency space. And these sharp moves to the downside can usually signal the start of an altcoin season. So taking things back out to the weekly time frame, I'm a huge fan of this long wick that we have to the upside, these 2 straight weeks of decrease in Bitcoin's dominance. And ultimately what we want to see is a major move below the 21 and the 50 weekly EMA cloud. This is an EMA cloud that has propped us up for the past 2 years, it would be a great step in the right direction. You see a huge breakdown in Bitcoin dominance below this level that has acted as support for the past 2 years. And I think we could be getting that. Now, obviously, nothing is set in stone until we actually make that move down, but we are starting to see that weakness come through. And if that weakness continues, it's going to be an excellent sign for altcoins. And this is something we've tracked on the channel for quite some time. So it's going to be very exciting when we do actually see this trend break down. And it's going to happen very fast. These breakdowns in Bitcoin dominance, if we just zoom out a little bit, we can see they do not take but just a few weeks, a couple months at a time. And that is your window of opportunity for making great outpaced returns in the altcoin market. And I think that we are on the cusp of that here relatively soon. So we're going to keep tracking this on the channel, of course, but let's move on to some other tickers. Another positive sign for altcoins, looking at others divided by BTC, we can see in the past few weeks, we have had a 28% move from our eventual bottom at the beginning of November. This is a great sign for altcoins, a huge turning point to start to set in those higher highs and higher lows, and ultimately make a bounce off of some major bullish divergence that we had here, I believe on the weekly time frame. Yes, so if we back it out to the weekly time frame, we've bounced very hard off of this bullish divergence. And as we've noted before on the channel, we have plenty of reasonable targets simply based on historical figures from this ratio, anywhere from an 85, 141, even up into the 240% territory is on the table for others to BTC. So I think we are in the earliest stages of altcoins really starting to outperform and steal that market share back from Bitcoin. This is very exciting stuff, of course, if you were into the altcoin space. And another very positive sign, once again, for alts, we're looking at this total 3. So this is going to exclude Bitcoin and Ethereum from the total market cap. We broke out of a long multi-month downtrend. We started setting in those higher highs and higher lows, and we had a massive multi-week move to the upside, clearing this level of resistance around $788 billion. And we are now trading within a new ceiling and floor. And if we look at total 2, this is only excluding Bitcoin, we see the same thing. Multi-month downtrend broken to the upside, the higher lows and higher highs start to come in, and a massive multi-week expansion beyond this range. Now, finally, taking it to others, we have not broken beyond our level that we set in March of 2024, but once again, we've broken a multi-month downtrend. We started to set in those higher highs and higher lows, and a multi-week move has taken us to a new trading range. And then hopefully, of course, we'd be able to get above that $367 billion mark. But there is a lot of positivity here in this market. I think the capital is really starting to rotate here for alts. So we've got plenty of steam left as far as Bitcoin goes. If we're just basing things on historical metrics, there's plenty of time and space for Bitcoin to run. But based on some of these metrics, I think that the attention is really starting to trickle into altcoins. Once again, we'll be looking for Bitcoin dominance to confirm this, but I think things are looking very good overall. So we're going to be tracking this move on the channel very closely. To restate the thesis, I think that Bitcoin needs to have a temporary cooldown period. A minor shallow correction is perfectly fine. I think altcoins, you'll see some different things. It's a big jungle of altcoins out there. They're not all going to perform the same, but of course, we know that overall, we have a lot of opportunity on the table. So guys, very exciting stuff. That's all I got for this week's update. We're kind of in that sit back and wait for those profits to be taken stage. It's going to be very exciting, and we're going to be tracking it once again very closely on the channel. And guys, if you want to get access to 20 plus premium trading analysts, including myself, our calls, our analysis, asking us questions, all that good stuff, you can join our Discord today. You can get your monthly VIP access, and you can start learning and earning at the same time. And guys, until the next video, I'll catch you in the Discord. Peace.